Happy New Year, guys. I hope you had a great Christmas. In this video I'm just going to talk about what happened over the last year and what we'll hopefully see in the new year. So when it comes to the stats, what we've seen was nearly a 2,200 rise in subscribers. So we're now at 3,400 when I'm recording this video, and we've now got around 80,000 more views each month than we were getting in December last year. So that's pretty amazing. As well as that, the new website that was only launched last year is getting around about 100,000 more page views than the old website had been getting. What it had been getting this time last year. So that's quite incredible too, that it's grown so much. So like I said, I hope you had a great Christmas, and I've had a pretty good Christmas as well. I got a few new things for the channel. One of the first things I got, and I'm actually testing it out right now, are some extension tubes for the camera, and that should allow me to zoom in a lot closer. So you can see that I'm zoomed in quite close to the face of this guy who's actually inside the cab of a model at the minute. Those of you with keen eyes will probably have guessed from the clothing of the man as to what vehicle he's in. So for those of you who haven't guessed already, some of you probably did guess, it's a Class Jaguar, of course. So that's one of the models I'll hopefully be tackling in 2016. As well as that, picked up a teleporter, which was an idea that mostly came from setting up for the model show that I did in Castleblaney. We were moving a lot of pallets. That seemed to be the most enjoyable thing to do, to move the pallets around with the tractor and lift up different things. So I thought, what better than a teleporter with a fork on it, so that we could, move a little bit more stuff. We could also load some trailers and stuff. The extension, that should be relatively easy to do. Just a screw motor in there, hopefully. Put another screw motor underneath the arm to lift it up and down. The challenge with it is really going to be the steering, because there's no steering axle on this model. But we'll see how that goes. It should be a good addition. The Class Jaguar, it shouldn't be too difficult. It's a pretty big model. It already has steering. There's loads of space. I should be able to just put two N20 motors back to back in the front of the model to drive the wheels here. So that's pretty easy. It has a maze header, but I might come up with some way of maybe I'll 3D print a silage header for it, something like that. But I'll also try and automate this maze header so that it folds out and folds in. That should be pretty good. The spout probably going to have to be replaced, because I think it's just a solid piece of plastic, nothing's hollow, and it just kind of spins around on a little ball joint here, so that'll have to be replaced with something that we can control. And then there looks to be LEDs, well, there's lights everywhere, so we'll have to replace them all with LEDs. The last addition is this silage trailer or grain trailer, and I had thought that this tipped up, but apparently it's a trailer with a kind of a conveyor on the bottom, so I don't know how I'm going to convert that, but it's a very nice trailer. Hopefully I'll be able to figure something out to make it entertaining, or to make it interesting. Those are the new additions to the fleet. Hopefully get to them in 2016. Although going on my current rate of progress, it'll probably be about 2020 by the time I get them all finished. I think the main reason I was pretty slow to get stuff done is that I didn't really have a set system that I was working to. I was kind of always trying out new things with the models, but in the end there of 2015 I started to get things together. I had a version 1 controller, and I was kind of making everything suit that, so that all started to work a lot faster, and I got a lot of things done in time for the model show in Castleblaney. But I've been working on version 2 for the last few months, and this is the kind of prototype for that. I've spent most of my time really working on this controller, and that's why I've fallen behind a bit with some of the models, like the Class Arion. Everyone wants the Class Arion built, but I've been focusing on this because I wanted to get the PCBs done so that I can send them off for manufacture, and hopefully I'll be doing that in the next couple of days. Then once I've had the chance to test them out, you'll obviously see that on the channel, and I think I'll be running a Kickstarter if people want to buy these, maybe in February or March. So if anyone wants the version 2, they should be able to pick it up there. I've also got another board that I'm sending out to get prototyped, which should speed up the making of the model. It's a little board, it's kind of like a shield for the Arduino, which has all the connections for the smaller NRF24 module and a TB6612 FNG motor driver module all in one. So you just solder the 4 pieces together and you have a lot less wires, because the main problem I run into is I have too many wires in the way, so I can't fit anything into the models. So hopefully that'll speed things up and make the builds a lot easier. That's if it works, of course. So I'll have to test that out when I get the prototypes. But this is the new kind of controller. I have the bigger LCD screen. It's a touch screen, but I haven't used that. The sliding pots were okay, but say you were driving a tractor, you had your lifting arms up, then you switch to your excavator. Because your sliding pod is up here, your excavator just takes off, so that didn't really work. So instead of that, I'm using encoders on the new design. That should remove that problem, and it'll have support for an NRF, an XB, and some infrared LEDs, which aren't here at the minute, but that's the plan. Possibly with the infrared LEDs we might be able to control 32 infrared tractors with the controller, but I haven't managed that yet, so I won't say that we can do that for sure, but maybe in the future we'll be able to figure that out. And just to give you an idea of the size, I was knocking together the kind of layout for the PCBs so that I could see where everything was going to go. There's going to be 6 AAA batteries on the back there. That's the simplest way to do it. There'll be 5 PCBs in total. The one in the middle has all the wiring on it, and the others are just kind of supporting layers. You'll have buttons for lights, functions, quick select for vehicles, buttons to control the LCD, 2 joysticks, and the encoder. So that's the plan for this year, and that'll be together in, well, hopefully there'll be a video on this within the month, because I'll be sending off for the prototypes. I think if I didn't show you any of the Arion, some of you guys would probably go a bit crazy. So I have actually made some progress. The motor is mounted, I have the gear mounted in there, so that's fine. I have tried many different ways to mount the wheels, and that's what's really slowing me up here, but I do have something finally working for that, and there's another bit of progress. I still need to mount these where's the bits? These things. I still need to get these things mounted to the rear of the model there, because obviously the spacing has all changed, but once I do that, it's going to be something like this that goes on the back of the model. Once I have that done, the video for the next part of the Arion will go up. So I have spent most of the last couple of months working on the controller and the little board for inside the tractors, but once I have those together, that should speed things up a lot, I think. But once I send the Gerber files off to get manufactured, the Arion is definitely the next tractor I'll be working on, although that might not mean it's going to be the next video up. And a final thing about the tractors, this Control 32 Fendt 930, I'm going to keep that as a Control 32 infrared tractor, but I'm going to add lights and things. I've been asked to add beacons to it, so that's one thing I'm going to do. I'll also add some work lights around here, and replace these lights in the front here as well, because they're crap. Not just because they're the standard lights, I mean one of them is broken, I think, so I'll sort that out. These lights at the back are probably alright, I mean they're not great, but they'll do, and I'll probably put 2 work lights there, so that kind of thing. This 6-pin thing, I might change that as well. It's a little bit inconvenient having to use the 1 CQ battery to power the thing, because I have all the same batteries for everything else, so I might just modify the charger to charge the other batteries, and modify this battery holder to use just a normal battery, and then I can plug all my trailers and that in. So I think that might be easier for me when I'm using these things, rather than having to charge this battery individually. So in short, this model is going to be basically modified Control 32 model. That's all I'm going to do with this. I'm not going to convert it to my own system like I did with the Control, or with the, yeah, it was Control 32 6920S, the John Deere 6920S. So I'm not going to do that to this, but I am going to try and figure out how to get the infrared on my controller to control this, because again it would be much easier or much more convenient to just have this Fendt 930 listed on my controller and just flick to it the same way I flick to all the other tractors, rather than having to go looking for another controller to control this. Another thing I'd like to do in the new year is kind of get back into electronics a little. I've been so focused on the electronics for the models here that I've kind of done nothing else, only RC tractor electronics for, well, most of last year anyway. But once I have the controller and those other little boards kind of sorted out the way I want them, I should be able to get back to some of my other little projects, and hopefully I'll show a few of these. I had a little amplifier board there today, but I never assembled. I think I'll do that and test that out. I might show you that on the channel as well. It won't be in the Thursday slot, that'll just be tractors all the time, so it'll probably be a Monday slot if I do any of these electronics projects. This is a frequency generator, but it's a pretty high frequency, and what I think, if we get the DB6612 FNG motor driver hooked up to this, use this to do the PWM, I should be able to show you how to get rid of, or well, it won't be how to get rid of whine in the motor, but that if you have a high enough frequency you won't hear the whine in the motor, I think, which is a result of the pulsing. I think that's the case, so that's why I wanted to get that and try that out. Final thing then, I have this little SD card that should be able to make sounds, so maybe we'll be able to get some tractor sounds on this thing. Maybe I'll put that in the forage harvester or something. That might be interesting, see if it's any good. Looks like a pretty basic thing, but I think you'd need, maybe it'd need its own Arduino Pro Mini to control that, or maybe I should just put a bigger Arduino into the forage harvester. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll see how it goes. But those are just a few things that I'd like to get back into, electronics a little. Hopefully you won't find any of this stuff too boring, and I suppose if you think it's a good idea, you can let me know in the comments, or any ideas what I can do with this. I mean, I do have my little signal generator that I think I showed you before on the channel, so I could probably just amplify this and show you what sine waves and square waves and things sound like through speaker or something. This kind of stuff is interesting to me. I'm not sure how many of you guys would find it all that interesting, but it's no big deal for me to record it while I'm doing it, so I'll upload the video, and I guess if you don't like it you can just skip on. Like I say, it won't be on a Thursday, the tractor videos will be on the Thursday as normal, so you can always just skip the Monday video if you see it. Here's another thing that kind of got forgotten about, my little walking robot. Kind of just got to his legs. I had done that last video that I showed you guys, and then he kind of just sat there since. Maybe I'll get round to doing a little bit on this as well. If any of this stuff is particularly interesting, just let me know in the comments, and I'll try and do it sooner rather than later if I can. But yeah, hopefully in 2016 I'll make a little bit more progress on this. Maybe by next Christmas I'll have him properly walking. And the final thing I'm thinking about taking a look at is kind of converting one of these old RC helicopters into not really a drone, but kind of an automated RC helicopter. So what I'm thinking of is just to try and test out an Arduino with, say, accelerometers and different things like that, and I'll control it from my controller. That's my idea, but I don't know how easy it would be. I don't think it would be too difficult. This one, I don't think this one really works anymore. I can't really remember, but I think when I replaced these pieces here, they weren't quite right, and I don't think it ever flew right after that. So I don't think that one is going to be any good. But this 3-channel one, I'm sure you can imagine I flew this into the ground many times, but I think it's a decent enough helicopter. I have new blades for it, I know that, they're in a box there somewhere, and there's a new tail for it, because as you can see I broke the tail off this. I think I ordered the parts and I never put them back on it, or well, I never put the new parts on it, I mean. But I think I could replace the electronics in this with an Arduino and accelerometer, and I'm thinking an ultrasonic distance finder, and I'd quite like to kind of have an obstacle avoidance helicopter is what I'm kind of thinking, but I don't know if it'll work or not. We'll see. I mightn't get the time to do this either. Most of this stuff I probably won't get the time to do, but anyway, that is kind of the things I'd like to do. So there you go, guys. That's a lot of the things we'll hopefully get around to this year. This Arion should be reasonably quick. Maybe in the next few months, once I have the controller thing kind of out of the way, I should be able to get that done. The Ford TW is just kind of waiting on the little board that I designed for inside the tractors. The Ford has 2 drive motors in the rear wheel, so it's kind of got a software differential, I guess you could call it. So that's kind of a new thing that we haven't done before. Hopefully that will work out alright. It corners really well, I think. Although I haven't tried it on my kind of diorama. I think it corners better than this Fendt 930 does. But that's pretty much all I have for this video. Thanks very much for helping the channel grow. I hope you've enjoyed watching over the last year, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your holidays. Thanks very much for watching.